Hey everyone, it's MK. Welcome back to MK Quilts. We got the boys in the house. We got a different orientation today, so
You might need to stand on the side a little. Share the screen.
share the screen. This is my space. This is also your space. So I see somebody hopping on. Once again, I'm mic'd up with my new little microphone here. Hi, Sherry Quaid. So hopefully I don't have to talk as loud. Everybody give me a thumbs up that you can hear me okay.
Testing, 1, 2,
Testing.
4, 6.
Hi, Cindy. Oh my gosh, so good to hear from you. Hi, Anne. All right. Hi, Christine. Okay, well, it looks like people are jumping on. Hi, Leslie. All right, well, awesome. Happy Friday to everybody. Thank you for joining us. Wow, a lot of people are jumping on. Okay, so if you could, a couple of you just drop comments that you can hear us okay. And just if you're just hopping on, yes, we are doing more of a portrait orientation today because I know that it's better for Instagram if we go this way. And kind of one of my New Year's resolutions is to do a bit more with Instagram this year and be a little bit more active over there. Yes, sounds good. All right, thanks, Marion. All right, the other thing I just wanted to give an update from last week. A lot of you, when we were testing out the microphones and whatnot, and I was asking if you could see us and if you could hear us, you mentioned that it faded in and out of being blurry and not blurry. Okay, so it's not exactly right on my list right now, but I thought maybe I would have Paul talk a little bit about why the blurriness and why and how we're going to rectify that this coming year.
Okay, so the blurriness is due to bandwidth. Depending on how the network is going, and sometimes you can't control it. We pay for good bandwidth out of the storefront here. However, there's other people that are using that bandwidth as well. And so it's not only us, it could be anywhere between us and you that the bandwidth gets a little limited. And so what they do is they stop sending as much information and things get pixelated for a while. So you see it fade in and fade out. So that's the hazard of doing things live, especially just off the cuff like we do. Sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. So
all right, and so what are we going to try to do this year, Paul, more of to try to alleviate some of that?
So we are talking about doing some pre-recording of our updates. I think it'll leave a little bit more flexibility for Melissa and I. We won't polish them all up, but we'll be able to post our updates. But that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to get access to us, because we're also going to start doing live webinars using webinar software so that we can sit down and we can spend half hour to an hour, conversing with you. You guys can type in your questions and things, and if we need to, get somebody on the phone. But we thought it'd be a better management of our time, and also we can make better content that way.
Yeah, so just stick with us as we experiment with all of that. We appreciate you guys kind of being our test pilots in a lot of ways for a lot of what we do. And I'm just saying, you all know how addicted I am to social media. I mean, I have said it before, I have basically built my business on social media. So I'm just going to kind of venture to say that I'll probably hop on live from time to time. Yes, Paul.
Okay, so I need to say there's probably a full 10-second delay from when we say something to when you see it. At least that's been my experience in testing.
You mean for live?
For live feed
Okay.
here. And I see a message from Annette. So she sent it, and within 10 seconds we saw it here, but she had mentioned that we were cutting in and out and our lips weren't syncing up. I think that might be a local network issue for her or her machine, because we're not getting that from other people. So if you are having trouble keeping our lips in sync with our...
Well, I know. I hate that at home when I'm watching a movie and it doesn't. So anyways, the moral of the story is we are still going to be coming to you, touching base, keeping in touch, and just keeping you updated and all of the happenings and all of that. We just might approach it a little bit differently, and we may ask some of you to be like real beta testers, if you will. Not that we're having a piece of software to test, but just if we can get some commitments from maybe a handful of you to help us. I know our owners are probably the first ones raising their hand to know that for us to know that they will help us as well. So keep watching, and yeah, we're going to be trying a bunch of new stuff here in 2020. Okay.
30 people on.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So here's what we're going to do, you guys. I have a few list of things that I want to mention and cover and update you on. But what I want you to do while I'm going through my list is I want you to formulate questions for us today. I'm sure you have a whole load of questions about the happenings coming out of HQ. Handy Quilter this last week or so. Okay, so if you have questions and you want to ask them, go ahead and type them in the comments below. Paul, if you could kind of keep an eye on that, and then if we have to scroll back, we will. Okay, so get your questions ready, and I will give you my review about Designer towards the end. So you're going to have to stick with us. Okay, so what have we had going on today? Well, Paul and I both should be loose because we both had massages today. Paul's had a little bit of crick in the neck. Oh, good. Sammy gets his massage too. So we're all massaged up. We're loose, which is good because after we all sign off with all of you, we're probably going to be here for a few hours. We have got a lot to do in the studio tonight. So next week, however we come to you next week, I'm hoping that you will see fancy stuff behind me and that we'll be much further along. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so what has been happening in our world and your world? Well, Handy Quilter has been hosting the educators out in Salt Lake City this week. And if you saw a couple of the posts that I shared from things that was happening out there, first of all, you will know that they released Designer. Okay, of course, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But one of the other things that they announced were some updates that are coming for ProStitcher Premium. Okay, so kind of going forward, ProStitcher and Designer are two completely separate products, okay? So ProStitcher will still continue to be developed, and updates will come out, and when those updates come out, you can bet your bottom dollar I will be updating and chattering about it and doing all of that. Now, I feel confident in talking about this because the educators talked about it and it was posted on Handy Quilter's site. So I feel like it's free game to talk about. One of the things that they said was coming with a ProStitcher update was something called Stitch Stats. Okay, so I have not seen this. I have not had my eyes or hands on it, but Stitch Stats, say that 10 times fast, something to do with knowing how or predicting how much thread you're going to use based on your design and its density, how long it's going to take it to stitch out, a whole bunch of different things that may be helpful for you when you're planning or stitching or whatnot. Okay, so I'm really excited about that. One of the other things that they kind of gave a little sneak peek about was something called Design Space or Design Workspace or Quilt Space or something. So basically you're going to be able in ProStitcher to put in like the distance of your throat or the distance of your quilt and have it, is what I'm understanding, is kind of have it appear on your tablet, and as you're stitching through, if you're doing an edge to edge and you've got that whole thing set up, you'll be able to kind of keep track of where you are in that stitch space or quilt space. I don't know what they're calling it. So that was a couple of things. I know last year at Academy, so in summer of 2019, they announced some updated functions as well, which I've not seen yet, so I am super excited. I'm always checking that Handy Quilter website for updates. I'm so excited to get whatever updates are going to be coming that relate to ProStitcher. Okay, you all know ProStitcher is my thing. So when I can talk about it, you know I'll be talking about it. All right, speaking of ProStitcher, you know, hopefully you've been there. They have a new website now, okay? So you can still get to ProStitcher website by going to Handy Quilter website. When you go down to the resources tab and you click on over to, like, let's say software updates, and you want to check out the ProStitcher side of the house, you click on ProStitcher, you're going to get redirected to a whole entirely new website now for all things ProStitcher. They're calling it ProStitcher Studio. So under that one banner, that one website, you can get the ProStitcher stuff and you can get the designer stuff all at one site. Okay? Paul, anything to say about that?
Well, they can probably hear me better because I looked down and I left my mic on mute.
Oh.
So they were probably hearing me through your
Geez.
mic. So even the techie guy
Yeah.
can really screw up sometimes. So I think I'm going to put this on mute and go get a drink while Melissa talks about the rest of her stuff.
So speaking about the website and updates, I just checked it before I hopped on today. And there was not a ProStitcher update yet. Okay, so we're still running 506, but hopefully, I'm hoping, since the educators got sneak peeks and they talked about it this week from Salt Lake City, that we will be seeing that very, very soon. Oh gosh, when stuff like that hits, I can't even sleep. I'm just so excited. Okay, so what else is happening in the world of Handy Quilter? Of course, Academy, the schedule of classes and all of that was announced on Monday, I guess it was. So, Academy. They have added, I don't know if it was there Monday or if they've added it since Monday, but Academy is going to include like 3 or 4 full days of instruction. And then the boot camp is kind of like a day that's separate from the full-on Academy, but there's limited a number of spots. They've got ProStitcher boot camp, they've got simulation boot camp, they've got Capri boot camp, and now they've got designer boot camp. Now, I was just looking at the website before I hopped on. Very limited seats in those boot camp type classes. So here is the thing with Academy. Registration opens on the 20th. I am planning to go this year. I've taken a look through the classes. I have no idea what I'm going to take or if I'm going to get in what I want to take or whatever. I just kind of want to go to Academy to see what's new, see if I can pick up on a few things myself, but also to meet some of you while I'm out there and just kind of, schmooze with y'all and have a couple of nights maybe where we can get together out there. So I'm really looking forward to it. I said it a few weeks ago, I'm just going as a student. I'm not going as a retailer. I'm not going as a instructor or any of that. That would not be appropriate for me to do that. I'm just going and just to have fun like all y'all are going to have fun. Okay, so I will say, if you are planning to go to Academy, you need to be on there at, I think they said 10 a.m. Mountain Time on the 20th. And you better be putting your little credit card in there and choosing your classes because they will fill up, especially those hands-on classes where they have limited, number of machines and those types of things. Get yourself signed up, okay? All right, I'm really looking forward to it. It will really be here, sooner than we think. I mean, it's June, but goodness, time is just flying, right? Okay, remember, you guys, if you have questions, be thinking about those questions, drop the questions, and I will get to those at the end. Okay, what have I been working on this last week or so? Well, if y'all been following, you know that I've been working on new content already, and I've released 2 new classes that are, I like to say, they're flying off the shelves. They're flying off the digital shelves out there in, internet land. But I am so thrilled, really, still, you guys. It still just blows my mind that I put a new class out there, I put new content out there, and you guys are just like snatching it up. And it just kind of validates for me what I'm trying to do, oh, Paul's, Paul, mute, please.
I can't shut down.
Okay, so thank you so much. I did release 2 new classes. The one was the Digital Edge to Edge for newbies. That is a longer class. It is jam-packed, a lot of information in that class. A lot of information about repositioning, about setting up your edge to edge, about marking in your batting, all kinds of stuff that those people who are newbies, I think really, really will find very, very helpful. Okay? Obviously, the newest one that I just did, when did I release it? Tuesday or Wednesday, was my edge-to-edge, connected edge-to-edge using the new ProStitcher Designer. So let me just stop before I do my full-on review of Designer and tell you, in my world, these last 3-ish years, 3.5 years that I've been teaching, my focus is ProStitcher. My focus will continue to be ProStitcher. That's my love. That's what I know the best. And all of us, when we get our ProStitchers home, we need to know how to use our ProStitchers, okay? Now, the design software, what we had in the past, what we are going to have going forward, that for many of you is going to be something that is like totally, you're not ready for that yet. And that's kind of why I have all along just really focused on ProStitcher and told my students, don't get freaked out about the Designer or digitizing or all of that. That will come. Okay, many of you are already skilled in that and you're ready to take this new project and run with it. And that's wonderful too. The content that I'm going to work on first as it relates to ProStitcher working with Designer is going to be very practical type of functionality so that you can see how the programs work together and so that you can see how to really use that at the quilt, okay? I'm probably not going to be teaching you how to design the greatest feather known to man and how to do custom things with Designer as it relates to some Judy Niemeyer quilt, okay? No. That's not my deal. I really want to just give you nuts and bolts, easy things that you can do with both programs and get that stuff to the machine and stitch. Okay, so that's going to be my focus. Anything that I put out is going to have those kind of parameters surrounding it. Okay, so watch for that. I'm already working on 2 classes that fit into that genre. The first one I'm kind of I'm calling it Sim 101. Okay, so Simulation 101. And what I plan to do with that class is offer it up for anybody who needs to know the basics of simulation. As you know, I've been doing simulation since the summer of 2015. Oh my goodness. When I say that, and now it's 2020, it just blows my mind. Okay, so I've been taking that simulation product from the first day they released it, and I have just been kind of going, you know, hair on fire with it. But I want to come back to the basics with my simulation and just show you very simply how to navigate around in simulation, how to use some of my most used functionality, all of the kind of basics. And I'm also going to be using that as a prerequisite class for those of you who are going to come out this year and take some of my other instruction. Okay? I have found over the last year and a half that I will take anybody in my classes, but I get a lot of different skill levels, you know, new people that have had ProStitcher for a while. And I think if I do a series of kind of Simulation 101, have you watch that before you come out to one of my sessions, it's just going to help normalize us, equalize us a little bit, and it'll make my job actually easier and we can cover more content if you at least know your way around simulation a little bit. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm working on. The second thing that I'm working on is actually going to be a class. I'm not sure how short I can make it. I've already heard from you guys that you like my shorter snippet type classes. The first one that I'm going to do, that's ProStitcher and Designer combo, is going to be how I work with L-shaped connected corner borders. Okay, so those funky corners that have an L connector that have to connect vertically and horizontally, I have a way of doing that. It's kind of something that I developed. Not that I'm the only one that does it this way, but it's kind of how I think through it. And now that we've got Designer, I'm going to show you some simple steps with that to get that all connected and stitch out beautifully and in both directions and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so those 2 classes, Simulation 101 and the L-shaped corner connected type border treatment. And I've got a quilt, let me just grab it quick. I've got a quilt that I'm going to be using for that class. It's just a Quilt of Valor type quilt. And I love the fact that I work with a lot of groups here locally that do a lot of charity and philanthropic work, because I can use their quilts without too many permissions needing to be, acquired, I can use those quilts in and work them into my classes. So that Quilt of Valor quilt, I'm also going to kind of work some of that instruction into new layout and rendering series that I'm doing, showing you how to set up block to block easy borders, how to get those borders all connected using ProStitcher, using Designer, and all of that. So that one quilt can serve a lot of purposes for me in the way of instruction and training, okay? All right, so keep watching for that. That's what I'm working on. All right, yep. Wow, okay, so you guys got your questions lined up? I think Paul was sitting there maybe taking note of a couple questions that you had. Okay, I am prepping for 2 simulation events that I have coming up this month. Not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm going to have a sold-out full house event here in Venice, Florida. Super excited about getting down there. The venue is one of my owners. She bought a machine from us. She's hosting, and I'm just super excited. Now I've got some new content. I've got new things to share. So super excited about that. Then the following weekend, I am on a plane heading out to the West Coast. I'm going to be out in California for a big sim event out there. Okay, so that's what I've got coming up. The other thing I've got coming up, I'm forming a user group. So any of you who are watching that are local to me here in Florida, that's coming up next month. I think it's the first Friday in February. We're going to start out just with kind of everybody. If you are a local long armor, kind of handy quilter focus, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. If you are a long armor in my area, let's just get together, figure out how often we want to meet, what we want to cover, what you want to learn. We can maybe, what I was thinking is we'll have non-computerized people for the first 2 hours, break for lunch, and focus on ProStitcher and computerized things in the afternoon. So Ellen and I will both be there for that one. I've asked her to adjust her schedule for that week so that we can get that group up and going. And then the other thing that I'm super excited about is my first official 2-day ProStitcher with Focus on Simulation event that I'm hosting here at MK Quilts. Paul, you going to be able to get this all done and ready?
I think I already posted I know I posted the sign up for the March 6th event.
Okay, you're not on mute, are you? Okay, no.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I got that right.
Okay, so anyways, I have got a bunch of people already signed up for my event here in Florida. Super excited about that, to be able to open up my own space and have y'all come to me instead of me all getting on a plane and go to you all, which I'm still willing to do this year, but really would love to host more things here. And then, of course, at the end of March, I have a huge event bringing in a lot of my owners, and we're going to have a big party, some training, some fun, dinner cruise, all of that stuff at the very end of March for people who have bought machines from us. I am super excited about that. And then April will be here, and I am jumping on a plane across the pond. I'm going to the UK to teach at Long Arm Academy over there in the northern part of the UK. So I'm super excited about that. All right, PK is next on my list, and then we'll take your questions about Designer. Anything else, Paul?
Why don't we hit just a few questions here, and then I'll do my bit, because Sammy's awful comfortable here. So the first question I saw was, how much does Academy cost?
I want to say it's $1,250. Boot camp is an extra fee for that one extra day. That just covers your instruction during Academy. Your flight and your accommodations are extra.
Okay, the other one was, someone had said, I have a and let me answer this one.
Okay.
Okay. She has a W700, one of the older tablets, but it still runs premium. Does she need to upgrade it to run Designer? Now that's sort of a trick question, because you shouldn't run Designer by default on your tablet to start. I would load it on your laptop. It doesn't need to be there. It can be loaded both places, because each license can be installed twice. So you're going to need to be careful how you use it. And Melissa might want to comment about why you might not want to just throw it on your tablet right away.
So one of the things that I always recommended with the other program that is no longer being bundled with us is that, yes, it was on the tablet, you could absolutely activate it on the tablet, but that uses up one of your activations. And most of what I like to do with now Designer, I like to do sitting down at a desk with a nice monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, all of that functionality. Now, obviously you can do all of that standing at, oh, I'm so sorry, Sammy. You can do all of that standing at your machine, okay? It can be loaded on your tablet and whatnot. But, you know, are you really going to want to stand there as this is being rolled out and you're just learning it and stand there at your machine for hours learning Designer? Probably not, okay? As you get more familiar with it, and maybe as you watch some of my classes and my content, and you see how they can work together, well then yeah, maybe you will want it on the tablet and you'll want it activated, okay? If I can add my 2 cents, and I'm not the technical side of the house, as it relates to should I get a new tablet or whatnot. Just keep watching Handy Quilter's website with that list of tablet compatibility and what you need for this and what you need for that. Everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different. I don't want you to have to spend money that you don't have to spend, but I also want you to know that as technology continues to advance and we continue to get more and it continues to get, you know, you just might get to the point where, yes, you have to. Is that accurate,
Yes.
Mr. MK?
Yes, and before I jump over to this other question, update question, I just saw one whiz by. If I have 2 machines, do I need to purchase another Designer? The answer is no. For each serial number that is off the carriage of a ProStitcher, you can purchase 1 set of licenses. I put it that way because you download a code which allows you to install it on 2 computers. Now you could put that 2 copies, 1 on each tablet if you wanted, 1 on 2 computers or whatever. But if you, let's put it this way, if you have 2 ProStitchers, the $199 value for those licenses is a pretty good deal. You might want to get both sets.
So just though, let's clarify and be very clear about it. Once you activate it, once you register it under your name with that whatever set of serial numbers from your ProStitcher and the registration you get with the software, it is yours. You own it. You may not resell it. You may not give it to somebody else. It is yours. Okay, so even if you were thinking, oh, I might want to sell my ProStitcher, maybe the next person wants it, I would have that conversation with that person, but let them decide. And if they are getting a ProStitcher that's never had its serial number used to register anything, then let them decide about buying that. You buy what you need to work in your studio. If you get it once and you put it on, let's say you get it once, and you put it on 2 computers in your studio. You can still export those designs and use it on either machine. Okay, so I would say no for right now. If you have 2 machines, just get it once, but be very careful and think about where you want to activate that. Okay? Okay, now deactivation. If, let's say, you put it on your tablet tomorrow and Monday you decide you want it off your tablet, that requires an email to support, and I'm just saying they're rolling out an awful lot right now. That might not be like the click of a button and 20 minutes later you've got it deactivated so you can use it your activation some other place. That's another reason to just, you know, maybe you want to wait for a few minutes or a few days or a couple of weeks or whatever until you're really sure you want that on your tablet. Okay?
Okay, simple update question. Do you need to load 506 before you load a later version of updates?
Well, 506 is the current one. I'm going to say that I don't know the specific cutoff number on the update as to which one you should be up to before you move on. So I would say that if you hear chatter of me saying, we have an update, and you haven't updated in a while, probably a good idea to update to 506 first, okay? And I'm noticing that Handy Quilter has put some previous versions of ProStitcher on the website. At least 2 or 3 they're leaving there at all times. So that way you can roll back or whatever. But I always like to update, make sure that I've got that downloaded so that I can keep it in my, on my drive or in the cloud or whatever, so that I can go back to whatever version that I want to go back to. So I know that was a little iffy on, not real crystal clear on that. I don't know the exact one that you would want to be up to, but update to 506 and then move on if we have another update. Would that be accurate, do you think?
You have a 99% chance of just being able to load the latest update and everything will go fine.
They've really done a good job with that over the last few years, just making it possible for you to just go with what you need with the latest. Okay.
Any more questions?
More questions? Ilsa Bartlett is on. Ilsa is in Australia right now. And so Ilsa, and to all of your country mates, everything that you have got going on down there, we are all behind you. We're thinking about you. If there's anything that we can do, I mean, if it's just donations, I don't know, but please stay safe. We hope that you guys are all safe down there. And just from the bottom, we love you guys from the bottom of our hearts. We're just horrified by the things that we're seeing. Just stay safe. There's nothing more important than your life. So whatever they are telling you to do to be safe, please be safe. Okay? All right. Any other questions? And then I'll just give you my 2 cents. Let me just scroll back and make sure that we haven't missed. Where do I find how to load PS on my laptop to use Sim? All right. So Handy Quilter, of course, has several videos out there. We have a few videos out there. Basically, you just go to handyquilter.com, then you go over to the ProStitcher website and you download it. There are download instructions there. I want to remind everybody, Paul's tech services are just an option. You can call Handy Quilter, try to wait in line. Again, please understand, they are probably pretty overloaded out there right now. Paul is an option. If you want to book time with him, he can help you remotely.
Go to the Contact Us page, scroll down. There's a spot where you can book my time right on my calendar, and that's the best way to make sure you get my focused attention, and we can usually handle something like that in 15 minutes or some basic question, but it's one way to get in there.
And it's really not that hard, but I know that it's a little intimidating, especially if you don't update a lot. Okay, Paul, talk about that. I'm going to see if we missed any other questions.
Okay, so this weighs as much as Samson because it has a battery in it. This is a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply. Some people ask, what type of supply should I get? Because you can buy a surge protector, but down here in Florida, we have glitches and the power might go out just momentarily. And if you're quilting along, that's probably not a good thing to happen. I don't care what machine you have. So we always put these UPSs on every one of our machines. Now, they will not run the machine forever. This battery, what you want to look for, though, is what they call volt amps, but they don't get complicated. If I get up here, you see the 650? That will handle even the bigger machines for a couple minutes. If you get some of the smaller ones and it's too small, they will crap out trying to provide enough power for your machine to finish working. So if your power goes out, though, first thing you do is stop, okay? Stop your machine. If the power doesn't come back on within a few seconds, start shutting down, because you're much better off that way than having the power going up and down. So for those who have been wondering, what do I need to buy?
And how much is that? And is that an Amazon item?
You can buy these anywhere, even Walmart. They run anywhere between $50 and $70 for the 650.
That's a pretty small investment to protect a $20,000 to $30,000 investment.
And every 2 years or so, instead of buying a new one, if it's in good shape, you can go to your local battery store and just replace the battery. And it's about 30 to 40 bucks, so it's mostly battery.
Okay, good. Okay, I did scroll back and find a question. How do I find out about the user group? So, excuse me. So speaking about the local user group that I am starting, I hadn't posted it online yet because we were trying to determine if there was going to be a fee or not. So there is going to be a small fee for what the user group that I am planning, and the small fee is going to be reasonable. It's just going to be able to help us cover if we need to do handouts or, you know, buy some, you know, iced tea or just whatever, you guys, okay? So small fee on the user group. Just keep watching the website, get signed up for the newsletter, watch my business Facebook page, because that'll be something that's a broader scope, and I will post it in there just as soon as I have it on the website, and I will start chattering about it, okay? Okay, do I need to install? Paul got that one. All right, tablet. Okay, I think we got most of the questions. If you have something else that you want to ask, you can drop it down. Let me just give you my 2 cents about Designer. Over the last several years, as I have been traveling around, and especially since we became retailers, I would always recommend that you get the bundle. Okay, at that time it was Art and Stitch was bundled. It was you had the option or not, and I would always say to get it. Okay, it was a little bit extra on the top of your purchase, and even if you weren't ready for it, I would always say get it. Now, I'm going to say the exact same thing about Designer. And honestly, you guys, this is how I really feel. You would kind of be, it would not be a smart idea to not get it now while they're deeply discounting it for current ProStitcher owners, okay? Also, it just popped into my head. I want to also be very clear about anything that I am saying about this product really applies to us here in the United States. I know that there are different rules, different laws, different times to roll things out. I'm sure it has something to do with international trade laws and I don't know. Okay, but for right now, it is in the United States. If you are outside of the United States, check with your distributor, check with your retailer, wait for word. I am not going to be the expert or speak on Handy Quilter's behalf with regard to any of that, okay? To the other machine owners that have ProStitcher on them, Baby Lock, Janome, King Quilter, whatever else is out there, please refer to whatever your manufacturer is telling you, okay? I'm not getting in the middle of any of that. I'm not allowed to. I don't want to. I'm just saying that eventually it will all be worked out. It's not a machine-specific piece of software, but you may have to go through specific channels here in the beginning as it's being rolled out, okay? So please check in with who you bought your machine from.
Okay, a question rolled by related to this. Right now, you have to buy directly from Handy Quilter through the website to get the discount. In the future, we may be able, as retailers, to sell the full-blown model, but right now they're giving this away at basically cost to all the past ProStitchers to get it out there. And anyone buying a new machine, guess what? You get it whether you want it or not.
So, and there's also some of you that just bought like at the end of last year, okay? We didn't exactly know when all of this was going to happen, and so we were still bundling what was available to us right up through the end of the year. I am going to speak on defending Handy Quilter a little bit. There's never going to be a time to choose a cutoff spot where you can please everybody. Like, I just bought this other one, now you want me to buy something else. There's never a good date that's the perfect date. Okay, so they went with the end of the year, anything January 1st, it's all switched over January 1st. But again, you guys, get it. It's $200. Look at your sewing machine and see how much that cost you. Look at the amount of rulers you have in your studio. It's $200. I don't ever mean to make light of you spending money, but it's $200. So get it now in the United States. Okay, there's been a lot of chatter about this serial number business. Now, I'll speak a couple of things and then Paul can chime in if he wants to. You need your ProStitcher serial number to prove that you are a ProStitcher owner, okay? You can download the software from the website and you can kind of play around with it and whatever, but you can't license it, register it unless you're a ProStitcher owner, okay? You wouldn't be able to export anything or stitch anything unless you register it. License it. Is that correct, Paul? Am I using the right terminology?
Yeah, you can't save anything. You can play with it, but everything's temporary.
Okay, so there have been some of you who can't find your serial number. You don't have your box. I don't know what to tell you, okay? Maybe you can call Handy Quilter and wait on hold for a little while and they can search that out for you. Maybe your retailer can offer you some assistance, but you gotta prove one way or the other or have Handy Quilter give you some sort of a bypass. I don't know how they would do it, but you have to prove that you're a ProStitcher owner to get the original discounted rate on that, okay? Now, moving forward, please keep your boxes. We always recommend, and I know space is an issue for some of you and blah, 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 whatever, but please keep your machine box and your ProStitcher box, or at least take pictures of the outside because the serial numbers are on the outside.
Okay, unless you have a very old ProStitcher, they've been putting the serial number on a sticker. Now you might need to move your machine up ahead. The other area is sometimes I've seen it stuck on the, sorry, this Forte rack is heavy, on the side. So check around. Worst case, you might want to take a look at the bottom for some of the very old ones.
Which you would have to have somebody help you get the rails off, get your machine off and whatnot. For Infinity owners, even if you push the machine all the way forward, you might not be able to see that sticker because the Infinity pretty much still covers up the carriage. So have somebody help you, maybe just lift it on the back a little bit, get under there and get a picture, okay? Now, once you get that serial number and you purchase that and you've proved you're an owner and you download it, there's another set of numbers that come to you through the email. Paul, explain that.
Oh, sorry, I was reading some of the back talk you're getting
okay.
there. It was pretty good. So the numbers that come through the email. So once you purchase, you're talking the designer stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to get a number back when you purchase and pay the credit card, and you get an email, and that's the number that you need to use when registering it. At that point, that number is not assigned to you per se.
And it's not your serial number from your ProStitcher.
No.
You just need the serial number from your ProStitcher once to purchase it. Anything that happens after that does not relate to your ProStitcher serial number.
Correct.
Okay.
So what else would you like me to say?
No, just
okay.
anything about that.
No.
We haven't been able to answer all of those questions specifically because we got our copy a slightly different way because we're retailers, okay? So I went through what I was supposed to do as a retailer and it went pretty smoothly, okay? The other thing, back to the serial number business, please register your machines. I don't care if you bought the thing new 2 weeks ago, if you bought it used 5 years ago. Get onto Handy Quilter's website and register your machine. That just gets you in Handy Quilter's database and whatnot. Your machine might be out of warranty, but it's still going to help them know who's got what. Okay? So get on there. You go to handyquilter.com. All the way to the bottom is a register my machine. Go through those questions and whatnot so that you can, so they know who you are and what you have. Because as we know, things get resold and resold and resold, and who knows where these things end up.
To answer Tracy's question, Art and Stitch is a totally different program. It's still available. It's still supported. It is not a Handy Quilter product. You can still use it. It's still good. Handy Quilter will no longer bundle it with the machine at a discount. So you're going straight to the author of that if you would like to.
Yes, and when I originally started chattering about this, I said, and I will say it again, Art and Stitch is a fantastic product. Many of us have it. Many of us use it. It will continue to be a fantastic product. Los and Theo are wonderful with this. It's been on the market, I think I saw him say 10 plus years or something like that, okay? Handy Quilter has made a decision to go with a new product that they created. Okay, it doesn't mean any other product still isn't good or out there or supported, okay? So those of you who know and love Art and Stitch, you're probably going to have a very easy time transitioning, and if you're using the other one, you might want to use it a little bit until you take the training wheels off with the new one. You might go back and forth between the two. It's just you're in a great place if you have both of them right now, okay? I will say, and then, gosh, how long have we been on here? I don't even know. This is the most watched live feed that I think we've ever had. So thank you guys for joining us. I want to say, if you're on the fence about getting it, get it. It's so, the way that it works in combination with ProStitcher is like a beautiful thing. I don't know if you saw me posting that first night when they released it. You can now make an area into a stitchable design. Yep, you heard me right, but if you didn't, let me repeat it. You can have an area saved in ProStitcher. You can open that area in Designer, and you can assign stitches to it and stitch it out, save it, whatever. If you're not doing the happy dance over that one, if that function right there is not worth $200 to you, then I don't know how we could possibly please you. But if you saw my post, you said I nearly levitated off of the sofa. When I was like playing with it the other night, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's huge, you guys, huge. And you can do vice versa, okay? You can take a design and you can turn it into an area. I mean, the possibilities are like making my head spin right now, okay? So get it, play with it, even if you're completely lost and clueless, get it, and just start getting in there and working with it. Handy Quilter has a ton of instructional videos already. Let me just qualify that. Most of their videos right now are introing it and telling you how to download it and talking about the development of it and how they're rolling it out, okay? I am trying my hardest to get you some of that real simple, nuts and bolts type of training content in my videos. Handy Quilter, of course, going to be all over this thing. The educators are going to be, they're just trained on it. They're going to be, offering stuff all around the country. I'm going to be offering stuff here. Get it. Get it. Get it. Yes?
I feel like I should have pom-poms, cheerleaders. Okay, Tony, I am going to check that out. Tony says when the tablet boots up, your ProStitcher serial number is shown. I don't ever recall seeing that, and I can't pull up information from ProStitcher that actually shows a serial number of the carriage.
Yeah, so. And some people have also said, well, it should be on my tablet or on the back of the tablet or in my tablet. I got a new tablet from UMK. You should be able to tell me the serial number. The tablet itself has nothing to do with the carriage. The carriage is the hardware. The carriage is your ProStitcher. The tablet's just what kind of makes it move, okay?
And can I talk a little futures here? Because there are a few comments going, just how local is local with your users group? Okay, we understand we're going to have a local community as well, but we're working really hard on creating an environment where we can have a broader users group where we may meet once a month online with, it's getting the right webinar software. We are thinking ahead of how we can communicate better. I mean, these videos are fun and everything else, but people can learn. Just getting small groups together can learn and share quite a bit.
And what I would really love to do with that, at some point in the future, would be to invite some of you. I don't know it all. I have said that before. I will never know it all. I will never claim to know it all. I will never claim to be the best. I know a thing or two about ProStitcher, and I want to impart that and share that, but there are plenty of you who have things to offer. You could be a guest on our webinar. If we need to pay you for that or whatever, we'll work it out. Okay, so I would love to have guest presenters from wherever you are in the world join us live. What I was speaking about user group wise is my local people here. I know that I have a lot of owners just within an hour to hour and a half, even 2 hours. When I first started this whole gig back in 2008, I bought my system from a lady 2 hours from me who had a user group the last Friday of the month, and I drove 2 hours one way and then 2 hours home again just to network with other people because I knew nothing. I needed to have that group of support. So that's what I'm just talking about locally. And anybody who has bought a machine, I don't care who you bought it from, we are not like that here. You are welcome here. You can come to our user group. There may be a small fee, maybe a little bit less for people who did buy a machine from us, but you're welcome here. Paul is happy to work on your machine. We're not going to get into that, oh, you didn't buy it from us, and so, go back to your dealer. I mean, we're not here to step on your dealer's toes. We're just saying you're welcome here.
What was Meg's husband's name?
Dave.
Okay, so shout out to Meg and Dave. They took us to dinner last night. They are people that do quilting with two infinities, and they needed some support, and they drove 2.5 hours to pick up their machine and took us to dinner and shared a lot of information with us. And thank you very much for dinner and all the
Okay.
positive things you had to say. So we don't turn away anyone.
And you know what Paul and I have experienced in 2018 and 2019 with being retailers is when we first started, we didn't sell a whole lot of stuff. I kind of was feeling out the waters and figuring it all out, how to be a retailer and all of that. But what we wanted to focus on in that very beginning stages, our infancy as retailers, was support, service, and training. And we really felt that the machine sales would follow. So we don't want to shove stuff down your throat all the time. Buy a machine. Yes, we'd love to sell you a machine. Doesn't matter where you are. In the United States, we can sell you a machine because our support, our
Infrastructure is
yes,
set up for
it's
it.
set up, and our commitment is to support you where you are and train you where you are and do that remotely if that's what it has to be. So we are hoping that you can see what we have built, what our values are, what our standards are, and when you're ready to buy, if you would love to buy from us, give us a call.
Yep,
There is a promotion going on right now, but if you're not ready, you're not ready, and we're not pressure salespeople.
Yep. So we had our meeting. We decided we're focusing back on our roots. You know, training, support, putting out content, and building this community. So we will mention the machines periodically, but nothing like last year. And thank you everybody who did buy from us. We are going to end up on top of the retailers again, very high up there, and it helps us prove ourselves to Handy Quilter that what we're doing is really outstanding in the industry right now. So
Yep,
thank you.
I don't want any dissatisfied, unhappy customers. We want you to be happy, okay? All right, whew, man, can we talk or what? Okay, so my take on Designer is it's phenomenal. I know that they have put countless hours and manpower and hours and money, and I mean, just the research and development to get this has been amazing. And Handy Quilter continues to be a leader in our industry. Flat out, they are at the top, okay? I mean, in my humble opinion.
So,
all right?
So Beatrice, question there, how do you get to the sale item? Go to ProStitcher.com, and then at the top of the page, if you don't find it through, you can go to the menus. One says Designer, one says ProStitcher.
Just make sure, Beatrice, I'm not sure you're in the United States. I think I saw you online earlier.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so
thanks.
if you're not in the United States, please check with your local distributors, your retailers there. I don't know what goes on with Handy Quilter in other countries, but they have to follow what they have to follow in those countries. So please, in the United States, ProStitcher.com, you can just get it, boom, it should be not a problem. If you're anywhere else
France, yeah.
in the outside of the United States for right now, it's not that it's not coming. It's just that they gotta roll it out when they're rolling it out.
Well, in all likelihood, you can probably download it. You probably can't license it right now.
Right,
So if you
right.
wanna play
Anybody
with
can
it,
go
it's
there
probably,
and get it.
probably available.
All right, so check out my content. We need to get some stuff done around here tonight, so probably not working on those videos that I mentioned tonight because I want to get stuff hung up. Oh, so the first thing that Paul and I are going to work on is a backdrop for back there last night. And one of the things that I bought for the studio is a hanging system. And it's more of like a gallery quality style hanging system where it goes all along the ceilings and then like cables kind of things hang down, so you can hang a quilt high, you can hang a quilt low, you can stack quilts on top of one another. So I'm super excited to get this place looking like a quilt studio because right now it's just gray walls. Okay, you guys, that's really pretty much all we got for you this week. Let me show you what's on the frame. And then I'm not going to show you the other side because, oh my gosh, it's a mess over there. Oh, just as I come over here, I wanted to mention one of the other classes that I'm going to work on. Let me just stop for a second and hold this up. One of the things that I finished right before Christmas was this beautiful embroidery piece that I stitched out on Mcfinity. Okay, so this is an embroidery file that I converted using Art and Stitch. Thank you. It worked out really lovely, but I'm planning to do one on this beautiful piece of pink grunge that I got at the store the other day. And I'm going to do like this beautiful rose with really pretty leaves on it. And I'm going to make that into a class on how I'm using Designer now to convert that embroidery and stitch that out on the long arm. So it's been on my to-do list. This was where I started. My very first piece was doing this. I decided that just flat out going for it and having it be all like this on the back was not the way to do that. So I did it a little bit differently on that other one. I've got a different plan for the one with the rose. So keep watching for that, because I am planning to do that stitch out embroidery on your long arm. But what I was going to show you on the frame was this beautiful t-shirt quilt that we're doing. And this is another class that I need to get to and redo. It's my content from Layout and Rendering number 1. So if any of you have that class, you'll know that Layout and Rendering number 1 covers the basics of how I do design using ProStitcher simulation, and it has to do with doing an inside fit edge to edge with border work, and it's the jumping off point. If you want to see how I do simulation, rent Layout and Rendering number 1 in premium, and then just know that I'm going to probably update that class a little bit, maybe incorporate some Designer in there, actually show you steps at the quilt and whatnot. So I have got a lot to work on this year. I'm super excited. If you can't tell, I'm super excited. So thank you guys for your support. Thank you, my goodness, all of you who watched today. If you watch this later, just drop replay below where you're coming from. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm humbled every day and blessed that you're there watching what I do here. Okay, you guys, have a great weekend from the boys and me, and from our new studio to yours. Happy quilting. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.